Welcome back guys to another video. So let's work on Firebase authentication now. I'll call Firebase auth. Firebase auth is what allows the user to be authenticated with Firebase. Then I'll call it mauth. It's just a variable name. Then I'll initialize it by saying mauth equals Firebase auth dot get instance. And then the next thing we want to do now is to first of all check if the current user is logged in by calling the onStart method, and the onStart method will check if the current user is logged in. So first I'll keep a few lines below. Start with the comments. I'll check if the user exists, and then in the next line I will start writing the code. I'll call Firebase user. Firebase user is a class that gives you a lot of Firebase features, like you can use Firebase user to get the current user ID or email or password, even phone number. So I'll call it user, and then I'll cast it to the mauth that we created above. Then I'll check if the user is equals to null by calling user.equals to null. And if the user is equals to null, it means that the user doesn't exist. That is just an if check, by the way. And then I'll put an else bracket to also handle other situations. So in a case whereby the user exists, we want to do something. In a case whereby the user doesn't exist, we also want to do something. So I did a little design just to show you how the page is going to be, where the user will log in and then get everything going there. So I'll write a method called Initialize widgets. This method is just to cast or assign our widgets, like our button, our text view, and everything. So I'll start by writing those in, making them global so I can access them within any method in the class. The first is the text view, which is a welcome text, and then I will just say welcome text. Then the second is an edit text, which I'm gonna call email. That's for the email field, by the way. And then the password is for the password field. And then lastly, not the last, I beg your pardon, a button, so that when the user presses it, it starts the registration process. And then lastly, a progress dialog to show the user that, hey, something is happening. Progress dialog, and I'll call it progress dialog. So in the init widget method, I'll start casting the widgets, assigning them to their, referencing them from the XML file. So the welcome text was called welcome, or not the name, welcome. Let's see, it's called text view. So text view. So as a text view, then the next is the email. I'll say find view by ID, id.email. It's followed by the password. Password find view by ID, id.password. That's the name I call it. And then the registration button, which is called reg bt and reg. Oof, I've forgotten the name there. Button. Oh, just button. And then lastly, we have to initialize the progress dialog. Just put this reference. So what I currently want to do now is to create a separate method called set widget visibility. What this method will do is, since we don't have multiple screen, we just have one screen that for the entire activity, sorry, for the entire application, I beg your pardon. So we will have to toggle the visibility of those widgets like the email, the password, the button, so that when a user exists, then those fields will not show up because there is no need, since the user already exists. And then if the user doesn't exist, if the user is already registered or signed in, then we disable. If they are not, we enable. So I will initialize my widgets and then set their visibility to invisible. Now, in the case where the user exists, we want to call the method called set visibility. So that will disable the widgets from showing up. And then if the user doesn't exist, we will fire up a method called register. I've changed the name there, register with email and password, since we'll be working with different sign-in functions. So let's give it a better name. So I will first of all get the text from the input field. So that's just a comment to know what I want to do next. Get text from input. So the first is a string of the email, and then I'll call it email in, and then I'll use the email field dot get text and then convert it to a string. I'll do the same thing to the other fields, which is a password. Let's say string password in dot get text dot to string. Then the last method I'm going to call is the mauth, which is the Firebase authentication. Then I'll say dot create user with email and password, and then I'll put in the two string that I created above, which is the email in and password in. It takes in two parameters. First of all, the email, and then followed by the password of the user. And then I'll check if the task was successful by calling the onComplete listener interface. Now let's write a comment to know what we're currently dealing with and what line we currently are. So here I will start the progress bar by calling the set title. Then the title will just be a text, please wait, just to tell the user that the registration is currently happening. And then I will now set the visibility to show, so it starts showing immediately. So inside the onComplete method, we will use the tags to get the result. Now I'll first of all do a check to see to detect if the task was successful or not. So I'll call if task dot is successful. Then if it's not successful, that's why I added the else block. So if the task is successful, we want to show the progress bar. So copy the method set visibility, paste it in there, so that when the user is successfully registered, we want to hide the visibility of those widgets. And then in the else block, we will just type something out to show the user that something went wrong. And also we need to set those things to visible again when something goes wrong. Set the fields to visible when something goes wrong. But we'll leave that for now. Before we test, we want to make sure that the user knows that he or she is currently logged in by just printing out the tools saying welcome. So my device is currently displayed on screen and I am running the application now from Android Studio to my phone. So let's see if our code runs. So the application is started and it crashed. That's a problem. Now the reason why it crashed is because of a method that I call, and I was passing in null parameters. Now this method is a create user with email and password. So that was the problem right there. The email in and the password in was null because the user hasn't typed in anything yet and we are registering the user. So the application will crash. So the only way to fix this is to go back to the onStart method, and I'm going to comment out the register with email and password sign in. Then the button that I created, the reg btn, I'm going to set on click listener to that. Set on click listener and then call the interface new view.onClick listener. Now inside the onClick listener method, I am going to copy the register with password method and then paste it inside so that when the user clicks the button, then the registration process starts. Now I run the application now and this is a very weird design. So I am going to once again pause the video to fix this design. Okay, so I pause the video and welcome back. So I've done the design. You can see everything now. So there's something we forgot. Let's add it to when the registration is successful, so we know that the registration has been successful. So I'm going to just print out a message called registration successful, so the user knows what is currently going on. And then I'm going to try to test the application. I'm going to put in my email. So I did, and the registration was successful, but the progress bar wasn't going invisible because of this method. It's supposed to be hide, not show. That's a mistake. So once again, that should be okay with it. That should be done. Progress bar dot hide. Then we'll also hide it when something goes wrong. So I'm going to run my application again, turn on my device. As you can see, there's currently no user. It was successful actually, but I deleted the user, so now I'm going to try again to register. So my device is on screen. As you can see, it's working. So I will type in my email, inho@gmail.com, and then I'm going to put in the password. I'll just say password. So I'll click register. As you can see, it is registering. Registration successful. So the registration is successful, as you can see, but the progress bar still isn't invisible. Now the reason is because I build the application first before making change to the code, so the change is not actually reflected on the device. So I will go back to my Firebase authentication section and refresh. There you see that that there is a user, and that's me. I just registered. So I'm going to try now to force close the application and then make a change to it. So I'm shutting down all apps, and then the change has been done. I'm going to build again. Pause the video and then welcome back. So I'm going to delete that current user. Then I'm going to try to sign in again with the same email because I have deleted the other one, so it will not cause any problem. So inho@gmail.com, then I'm going to put a password, and then I'll try to sign in, register. Whoa, something went wrong. There's a problem. Let me see. Something went wrong again. So I think the issue is from our code, definitely. I'm going to refresh, still nothing happened. The new user wasn't created. So the error was that I mistakenly added space in the email address. So now I'm going to try again with the same email but without mistake. My email address, and then I'm going to type the password, then I'll click register. It is registering. As you can see, the registration is successful, and then there is a user. So thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, subscribe to my channel, and bye.